So today we are going to see about cast restoration. So contents, you have introduction, indications, contraindications, advantages, disadvantages, tooth preparation for class 2 cast metal restoration, tooth preparation for full cast metal onlays, secondary resistance and retention features. So introduction, cast metal restoration is an indirect restoration. In that you have inlay and class 2 inlay. Inlay is nothing but it is a fixed intracoronal restoration made outside the tooth corresponding to the form of prepared cavity which is then luted into the tooth. Class 2 inlay, it involves occlusal surface and proximal surface of a posterior tooth and may cap one or more but not all the cusp. So onlay, a combination of intraoral and extraoral cast restoration that caps all the cusp of a posterior tooth that can be designed to help strengthen a tooth weakened by caries or preventive restorative treatment. Class 2 inlay. It involves the occlusal and proximal surface of a posterior tooth and caps all of the cusp. So materials for cast metal restoration according to Student, you have traditional high gold alloys, low gold alloys, palladium silver alloys and base metal alloys. According to Marzuk, you have gold and platinum based alloys, low gold alloys, non-gold platinum based alloys, nickel platinum based alloys, castable moldable ceramics. Cast dental alloys can also be classified on the basis of use, on the basis of major elements present, on the basis of nobility, on the basis of principal elements present, and on the basis of dominant phase system. So requirements of dental casting alloys, it should be biocompatible, it should have tarnish and corrosion resistance, it should be castable, it should have high modulus of elasticity, it should have high coefficient of thermal expansion, it should have a good finishing and polishing, and it should be aesthetically presentable, and cost should be economical. Indications: large restoration, endodontically treated teeth, superior contact and contour, dental rehabilitation with cast metal alloys, posterior diastema closure and removable prosthodontic abutment. So where it is contraindicated is in caries high rate, in young patient, in aesthetics and small restorations. Advantages: strength, biocompatibility, low wear and control of contact and contours. So disadvantages are it is a temporary restoration, cost effective, technique sensitive, splitting forces, a number of appointments are higher and chair side time is more. So mouth preparation prior to a cast restoration, there should be a control in plaque, caries, and there should be no periodontal problems. Control of pulpal condition of the tooth. It should have an occlusal equilibrium and diagnostic wax up and temporary restoration. So burrs used are burr number 271, burr number 169L and burr number 8862. So steps is, first you have your occlusal step where you orient the burr, then give a punch cut followed by occlusal extension, dovetail retention and occlusal outline form. In proximal box you have a proximal ditch preparation followed by a proximal box preparation and then planing of the walls and placement of the retention grooves. Next you will have the final preparation. There you have to remove the infected caries, dentin and pulp protection, and then preparation of the bevels and flares. Then orientation of the burr. So number 271 carbide burr will be held parallel to the long axis of the tooth crown. Then for mandibular molars and second premolars, the crown tilt should be slightly lingual. Thus burr should also be tilted, which is 5 to 10 degree lingually. Then occlusal punch cut. So we have to enter the fossa or pit close to the involved marginal ridge using a punch cut to a depth of 1.5 mm to establish the depth of the pulpal wall. Then you have the occlusal extension step. So you have to maintain the 1.5 mm initial depth and the same burr orientation should be followed. Then you have your dovetail retention. For that the 169L carbide burr is used to make a facial and lingual extension into the pit region. This features resist displacement in the mesodistal direction. Then occlusal outline form. Here also number 271 carbide burr is used to extend the occlusal step and progressively widen the preparation to the desired facial lingual width in anticipation of proximal box preparation. So it clears the adjacent tooth by 0.2 to 0.5 mm, and the width of the isthmus should only be slightly wider than the burr. Then proximal ditch preparation. So mesiodistal width of the ditch should be 0.8 mm, 0.5 mm at the expense of the dentin and 0.3 mm at the expense of enamel. Then proximal box preparation. With the number 271 carbide burr, make two cuts, one at the facial limit of the proximal ditch and the other at the lingual limit. These cuts are extended until the burr is nearly through the marginal ridge enamel. Then planing of the wall. By using bin angle chisel or enamel hatchet, planing of the facial, lingual and gingival margins is accomplished. We have to clear the adjacent tooth by 0.2 to 0.5 mm. Then placement of the retention grooves. Shallow 0.3 mm deep retention grooves may be cut in the facio-lingual and the linguoaxial line angles with number 169 carbide burr. So these grooves are indicated if the preparation tooth is very short, and the grooves are in sound dentin which is close but not contacting the GEJ. Then you'll have the final preparation, which is removal of infected caries dentin and pulp protection, followed by inspection and then removal of infected caries by slowly revolving round burr or spoon excavator. Then you have to remove the old restrictive material, provide a pulp protection with light cure GIC with the lining followed with calcium hydroxide if required. Then preparation of bevels and flares. For this, number 8862 burrs is used, and beveling the occlusal and gingival margins and applying the secondary flare on the lingual and facial wall will result in a 30 to 40 degree marginal metal on the inlay. So the cavo surface design will help seat and protect the margins and result in a strong enamel margin of an angle of 140 to 150 degree. So then bevel. So the inclination that one surface makes with another when not at right angles in cavity preparation, a cut that produces an angle of more than 90 degree with an actual cavity wall. Then you have a partial bevel, short bevel cast restoration and long bevel. So you have a full bevel, counter bevel and hollow ground bevel. So the hollow ground bevel is also called as a concave bevel. Then preparation of occlusal bevel. So width of the cavo surface bevel on the occlusal margin should be approximately 1/4 of the depth of the respective wall. So occlusal marginal metal of the inlay should be 40 degree and occlusal margin of the enamel is 140 degree. Then we have to bevel the axiopulpal line angle. So desirable metal angle at the margins of inlay is always 40 degree and except at the gingival margin where the metal angle should be 30 degree. Then comes preparation of the secondary lingual flare. In that you have secondary flare that is given to provide a marginal metal angle at a 40 degree is termed as lingual secondary flare, and first flare that brings the proximal preparation out of the contact area is termed as lingual primary flare. Then you have advantages. Advantages are extend margins into the embrasures, making them self-cleansing and accessible to finishing along with the conservation of dentin. So this results in a 40 degree marginal metal which is more burnishable and more blunt and stronger enamel margin. Then convenience form to aid impression making, finishing and drying of the castings. Then beveling the gingival margin. The gingival bevel should be 0.5 to 1 mm. It helps in removal of the weak enamel, 30 degree metal margin that is burnishable. Sliding fit is produced at the gingival margin. Then preparing the secondary facial flare. Here 40 degree marginal metal will be there, and long axis of the instrument is tilted mesially and facially. So differences in amalgam and inlay restoration. For amalgam 245 burr is used. It is used for establishing the outline form. In inlay 27 burr is used to establish the outline form. Here inverted pear shaped burr is used. Here tapered Fisher burr is used. So occlusally converging walls formed. Here occlusally diverging walls formed with 2 to 5 degree taper on each side. So amalgam, occlusally converging walls aid in mechanical retention via undercut formation. In inlay, retention occurs by close approximation of casting to walls of preparation and cementation. In amalgam, 1/4 of the intercuspal distance with facial lingual width not more than 1.5 to 2 mm. Here large restoration possible due to greater strength of the metal. So amalgam 90° curve surface angle, and inlay you have 140° curve surface angle, resulting in 40° marginal metal to remove the all undermined enamel rods. So in amalgam only primary flares are provided. In inlay secondary flares are given along with the primary flare. In amalgam, gingival bevel of 15 to 20° is given. Here gingival bevel of 30° for thickness of the metal is given. So differences in restorative technique. In amalgam, the prepared cavity is filled with same appointment. Here impression or temporary restoration and seating of the cast require multiple appointments. Amalgam burnished and carved intraorally. Tooth anatomy is replicated accurately by wax patterns. Contacts and contours are average. Here superior contacts and contours are given in indirect method. Then you have a low wear resistance in amalgam. In inlay you have high wear resistance. Then less durability due to tendency to undergo tarnish and corrosion. It is more durable and mostly of noble metals that do not show corrosion. It is less biocompatible due to the presence of mercury, health hazard to dentist and hygienist. It is made mostly biocompatible metals. Inlay and amalgam visits. It is at least 2 visits for inlay, amalgam single visit. Procedure is indirect. In amalgam it is direct. The size of the restoration is large and bulky in inlay, whereas in amalgam it is relatively smaller. The strength is superior, it is less. Cavus surface angle is 130 to 140°, it is 90°. Bevels are, all margins are beveled, and here the margins are not beveled. The gingival bevel is given at an angle of 20 to 30°, here 15 to 20°. So tooth preparation in full cast metal onlay. So you have the steps: preparation of pulpal floor, preparation of depth gauge grooves, cast production, occlusal step, proximal box, removal of infected caries dentin and defective restorative material and pulp production, preparation of bevels and flares, and verification of occlusal clearance. Preparation of the pulpal floor. For this, number 271 carbide burr is used, and depth will be about 2 mm on the pulpal floor is prepared along the central groove. Then preparation of the depth gauge grooves. For this, number 271 carbide burr is used with a uniform 1.5 mm depth cuts are prepared on the remaining occlusal surface. And cusp reduction. Reduction should provide a uniform metal thickness of 1.5 mm. Occlusal step. 0.5 mm deep occlusal step should be present in center groove region between the reduced cuspal inclines and the pulpal floor. So reverse bevel or counter bevel. A reverse bevel or counter bevel is a bevel of generous width which is prepared on the facial margin of a reduced cusp with a flame shaped or fin grit diamond instrument. In proximal box, then removal of infected caries dentin, preparation of bevels and flares, verification of occlusal clearance. Then restorative techniques for cast metal restoration. It is interocclusal records, temporary restoration, final impression, working cast and dies, wax patterns, spruing, investing in casting, seating, adjusting and polishing the casting, trying the casting, and cementation. So these are the steps. First, the polyvinyl siloxane impression material is used for taking the impression. Then patient closing in maximum intercuspation position over the paste. When held up to the light areas where the adjacent unprepared teeth have penetrated through the material to be seen. Then temporary restoration, direct technique, and these are the techniques which are involved in temporary cementation. Then you will take up the final impression where light and heavy body impression materials are used, and the tray adhesive and accessory curved flips are also used. Then impression tray is filled with the heavy body material, and the tooth surface is covered with the light body material. Then we have to seat the impression tray and retrieval of the impression. Then working cast and dies. So die segments on a Pindex machine which are ready to drill hole for the first molar die. Then a small red dot of light helps position the cast. Then holes are drilled for removable dies. Then flow a drop of cyanoacrylate glue into each hole. The cast must be dry for the glue to adhere. So immediately insert a dowel pin into the hole, being sure it is fully seated. So you have to place a rope wax around the cast and flush it with dye bases. So place boxing wax around the rope wax to create a container for the base pour. A separating agent must be painted to prevent it mixing with the base pour. Then a base pour is completed. Leave at least 1 mm of the dowel pin protruding. Cast after removing boxing and rope wax. So removing the die segment from the base, and next step is removing the excess die stone with a large crosscut carbide burr in slow speed handpiece. Then the cast is completed, and this is the facial view. Then you have to take the wax pattern. Then we have to carve. The wax is carved with margins with warm number 7 spatula. Then after marginal ridges added to the pattern base, the foci are waxed in and the grooves are carved to complete the wax pattern. So next will be your spruing step: investing, casting, finishing, seating, adjusting and polishing of the casting. So next, after all these procedures, we'll be trying in the casting. So use hand pressure initially to see the casting on tooth by applying ball burnisher in pit anatomy. Inspect marginal fit of the tried inlay. Then cementation, where we have to isolate the tooth, then application of the cement and seating using a ball burnisher and hand pressure. So patient is asked to apply the masticatory pressure. Excess of cement is removed using an explorer and air water spray. Removal of interproximal cement by dental tape, and only after cementation. Thank you.